Good evening. So, I just want to start by saying that what I'm about to say is not to bash anybody. It's not to be malicious or to speak ill on anybody. And I could possibly go to jail for this video because that's the times that we're living in America. We no longer have constitutional rights. Mine were violated by the Dakota County judicial system by Tim Wormerger. About 2023, I started hanging out with Andrew Conboy, Tim Conboy's son. He told me that he believes that his dad and wife are having an affair and that his dad poisoned his mom. And I thought, that is a very wild accusation. Please tell me more, Andrew. And I asked lots of questions. I asked questions that police officers, if they did a thorough investigation, would ask, is what I did. And I have tried to reach out to Michael Dahlstrom. I have tried to reach out to other law enforcement officers. Andrew has gone to the BCA. He's gone to multiple law enforcement agencies. He is serious. He actually truly believes that his mother was poisoned. And he has legitimate reasons to believe this. And the corruption I'm seeing within law enforcement, not just with Andrew's case, but now you're seeing that guy that was having a stroke, and what was it, Egan? I think it was, and the officer that's supposed to be trained in medical stuff let him have a stroke, and basically, I think he died. Didn't he die? So these police officers, I'm realizing, and I hate to say this, but they're incompetent. Seeing that they arrested Andrew for phone calls and text messages from the OFP that Kirsten, which Andrew's father, Tim Conboy, helped Kirsten file this order of protection against Andrew. She writes all about Tim Conboy as a witness on this order of protection. And then Andrew, which all of you guys, anybody can go to the courthouse and read all of the documents. You can see what she wrote. You could see what he wrote. He pointed out her perjury to the court. He said now she's contradicted herself. So now that she's committed perjury, you have to call into question, which perjury, I don't know if you know this, it's a crime. It's illegal to commit perjury. And Kirsten Conboy has committed perjury on multiple court documents, and so has Tim Conboy. Tim Conboy wrote this big, long paragraph about my harassment. Well, if I was harassing on the internet, you should be able to provide the proof to the court. And Timothy Conboy did not have to provide any evidence whatsoever to Tim Wormerger. Tim Wormerger, who was not even the original judge of my order. Timothy Conboy got his order denied by the court, and then had his friend, who is also Tim Wormerger, who's also on Andrew's civil commitment. And once Andrew got a new judge 6 months later, the new judge said, you should have never been committed. Because Andrew is pro se, he was representing himself. He's not mentally unstable, he's not deranged. And the Rosemount neighborhood page that keeps deleting the posts, and you have all these people who have never met Andrew, never been in his presence, saying that he's mentally ill, and this is a mentally ill person. Some woman on there called me mentally ill, saying, this is defamation of character by a mentally ill person. Excuse me, lady. You're not the one experiencing this. You're not the one going through this. You're not the one who's been harassed and stalked by these people for over a year. They've threatened jail on me. They threatened CPS on me. They've harassed me with court. I shared pieces of Andrew's investigation on my profile page, okay? I shared that Officer Larson, who works with Andrew's father at Rosemount High School, called off the Hennepin County Medical Examiner. That's what I put. I shared Andrew's post like that. And so when Officer Hughes and Officer Larson was on my statement, right, on my citation or whatever, I called Officer Hughes and I said, what is it I'm being violated for? Because it didn't say what I was being violated for. It just said that I violated the harassment restraining order. It didn't say give any posts or anything. So I called Officer Hughes at Rosemount. I said, why? I said, what am I being violated for? He said, it's for sharing Andrew's post about Officer Larson because it talks about his father on there. And I said, do we not believe in the Constitution anymore? And you know what he said to me? He said, well, I was told by a higher up I had to. So for the Rosemount page, the Rosemount neighborhood page, right? Anybody in Rosemount? If you're wondering what's going on with Officer Dahlstrom, Michael Dahlstrom, me and Andrew have reached out to him multiple times. I have sent him multiple emails. I have tried to get a hold of him to let him know that, listen, this is a conspiracy. This is deeper than a murder. This is a conspiracy. They conspired against Andrew to silence him with order of protection by having him arrested, which the order of protection is for him and Kirsten, not for Kirsten's girls. So when he's trying to contact his daughters and he's being arrested for that, that's concerning to me that police officers no longer have discernment, or they know his dad. I don't know exactly what's going on or why this is happening, but this is showing a lot of corruption, and like police officers need to do a better job. You should not be putting people in jail for trying to get a hold of their children via the phone calls or text messages. Again, because that order of protection was for Kirsten, not for his daughters. And Kirsten has been withholding Andrew's daughters. He has not spoken or seen his daughters in over 2 years, you guys. Could you imagine being Andrew? Could you imagine seeing people on the internet saying, oh, he's mentally ill, he's mentally unstable, and all these mean things about you as you're literally trying to report that you believe your mother was poisoned? And again, he has legitimate reasons to believe this. Kirsten, a year after Andrew's their relationship, after they started dating, every time they got in a fight, she would call his dad and tell on Andrew and tattle on him. And then they kept talking, and Andrew's mother kept telling Tim to stop communicating with Kirsten. Andrew asked his father multiple times to stop communicating with Kirsten. He would not stop. Andrew's mother was also documenting Kirsten's abusive behavior. She chased him around the house with a hammer. She was drinking and driving with the girls. She would leave the house windows wide open. She moved out in 2017. She was very abusive to Andrew, verbally, emotionally. Even when his mom died, she was making fun of him. She didn't even show up to his mom's funeral. So there's a lot of reasons why I believe Andrew when it comes to all of this. And then she used the court to harass me, where she commits perjury, saying I made threats of violence to her and her daughters in the court, which is perjury. That is a crime. I pointed it out to Judge Adam Johnson, and nothing happens to her at all. What she has done is illegal. What Tim has done is illegal. And Tim Wormager, this is obstruction of justice, what's happening. And again, Michael Dahlstrom not even taking the time to investigate this. When I was in court, Tim Wormager said, do you have proof to prove this? And I said, there hasn't been a thorough investigation. So after that, Andrew did his own investigation, and he found out a lot of incriminating things about his father. And the reason why he believes his mom was poisoned was because a week before she died, she said, it feels like I'm being poisoned. Her body was purple, which matches up with the police report. His dad is caught lying, or he says on to the EMT or to the paramedic that her body was cold to the touch, like explains the morning and how he found her breathing at 5 o'clock and 6:20. She wasn't breathing. She was cold to the touch. And the police report says she was still very warm. Well, Andrew had no idea his mother was being cremated until he found her ashes behind a box of adult diapers in the cheapest boxes that could get from the cremation place. Found his mother's ashes behind a box of adult diapers. So there's a lot of details in this case that make it look very suspicious, and people keep telling me, oh, Stephanie, well, yeah, that might be true. This sounds true, like you really did it, but there's no way to go after him for this because she was cremated, blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe not that, but the conspiracy behind it proves it to me. What they've done to Andrew is the most malicious thing I've ever seen done to a person personally. Like, obviously you hear things on the internet and other people's stories, but me personally seeing a person go through this, and the fact that Andrew gets up every day and still brings good energy, I am like, oh my God, most people would have killed their father. They would have killed them. And he knows he can't. Like, if we were living in old times, maybe things would have been different. But because we live in a place, a society, where you can't stick up for yourself, and you have a corrupt court system that can literally help the criminals, the abusers, get away with being abusive and crimes, I am concerned about our country. I am concerned that Dakota County, not just Dakota County, it's everywhere. This is happening all over the United States. Our court system is so corrupt. These judges, these law enforcement officers, they believe they're God. They believe they're God, and they can just decide things over your life, which is not okay with me. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with the fact that I had my constitutional rights violated. I was trying to report a crime on the internet, you guys, and then I was harassed with harassment restraining orders. I was harassed with court, where I went to both court hearings, and I watched collusion and corruption take place right in front of me. I am the witness. I saw it happen. Again, I was threatened all year long with jail and child protective services by his sister. I watched them literally make fun of Andrew. Like he needed a lawnmower for his house, which his dad had taken his lawnmower, so they brought him a push lawnmower, you guys. As they literally took away his daughters and won't allow him to talk to his daughters or see his daughters, they bring him a push lawnmower so he can mow his lawn. And then his sister came in the middle of the night because he posted about his dad and the situation. His sister came, Amy Harvey came in the middle of the night and stole the lawnmower back, a push lawnmower. I mean, what they're doing is so petty and so immature. The fact that they're able to use our court system, our judicial system to do this to a human being is sick. It's sick, and that's why I'm speaking up about it. And you know what? I still believe in the Constitution. I still believe in the Constitution, so yes, I'm not legally allowed to talk about Tim Combo right now, but I will be sharing the videos. I will be sharing all the text messages. I will be sharing all of the evidence on my social media page because the Rosemount police refuse to investigate this. That is a concern to me. And maybe they are now. Maybe that's why Michael Dahlstrom was let go, because maybe now the BCA or whoever that Andrew has contacted is finally doing some type of investigation. But this has gone on way too long. This is abusive to his daughters. I couldn't imagine not being able to talk to him. When I was a kid, I lived in California. My dad lived in Minnesota. My dad would still call and talk to us. We still got to talk to our dad. Andrew has had zero contact with his daughters for over 2 years. And when he tried via the phone and text message in Florida, she had him arrested. He was arrested at gunpoint with my 5-year-old, my then 5-year-old present. This was 2 years ago. Why are officers arresting him for phone calls and text messages? That's what I want to know. Is there no discernment anymore in law enforcement? I mean, that order of protection was for her, not for her daughters, not for the girls. And again, the fact that you have people on the internet making fun of him, people who have never even met Andrew, are saying horrible things about him on the internet. Could you imagine being him, the things that he's been through? He's been crucified by the people of Rosemount, by the court system, by his ex-wife, by his father. I mean, like, his father forsake him. I mean, they forsake Andrew. They've forsaken him. What they've done to him is cruel, and it's not okay. And yeah, I don't trust law enforcement. I don't trust our judicial system anymore and the things that I'm saying. And I have every right to speak about this, about what's happening, about what's going on. And again, the fact that the Rosemount neighborhood page is removing my posts about this, the people of Rosemount have a right to know. They should be allowed to listen to the details of this case so they can form an opinion themselves. Sorry. People have a right to know what's going on, and I will keep sharing until he is reunited with those girls, until justice is served. I will keep sharing. Again, this could possibly land me in jail. And if they put me in jail over Facebook posts, over social media posts, trying to report a crime, that tells you what kind of times we're living in America. Because as of right now, I believe in the Constitution, but apparently people of Dakota County, law enforcement officers, or Tim Wormager, does not. And that is a concern to me. That you have judicial officers who are corrupt, who are signing off on orders. The fact that Andrew told me his father has had multiple lawsuits dropped because of the abuse that he's done to students at Rosemount. Why are lawsuits being dropped against him? Who's dropping those? How are those being dropped, and what's going on? The people who went to Rosemount who know Tim Conboy, when I started posting about him, I had people on my page sending me their stories about their distaste for him. And that's why he wanted to silence me. I never encouraged any harassment like he tried to tell the court. I would never encourage harassment. I encouraged Dakota County to investigate this case because this is a conspiracy. This is obstruction of justice. This is collusion, corruption, defamation of character, perjury, so many crimes in one. This is what I call a white-collar crime that's happening in Rosemount. And this is very serious, you guys. And I wish more people would speak up about this. There's way too much corruption going on in law enforcement, and I no longer blindly back the blue like I used to. Because now I can see how corrupt it was. They held my 5-year-old at gunpoint, you guys. I have every reason to be afraid of police officers. I have every reason to be afraid of the judicial system, but I will not be afraid to speak up. Part of me is afraid. I am afraid of going to jail. But again, if I have to go to jail, that will show everybody, because I have been very vocal about this issue, that will show everybody what kind of times we're living in. That I am someone who's trying to report a crime on the internet. And I am being harassed with court and criminal charges and threats about being thrown in jail and about child protective services. They are abusing the system. Okay, and this is somebody who works at a high school, who's around high school students, who I found somebody at at Target one day who was wearing Rosemount attire. And I said, hey, can I ask you a question? I said, what's your opinion of Tim Conboy? And she told me, and she said he should not be working around students, around children. That's what she said to me. Andrew told me his mother told him before she died, this is before all this stuff happened, that she caught his father touching one of his daughters. And maybe she tried to report it. I don't know. That's what he thinks. She tried to report it. So I don't know exactly what happened, but if this is true, this needs to be taken seriously. And the fact that it's not is very concerning. It makes me not trust law enforcement officers. I don't trust our judicial system anymore because of what I've seen. So I really, really have faith and hope that justice is coming. But this needs to be investigated by the Rosemount police, by the sheriffs, by the FBI. I don't even know at this point who you go to, because I have tried everywhere, and other law enforcement agencies have both told me and Andrew, it's out of my jurisdiction. There's nothing I can do. I'm like, do you have a contact I can call about this? You can go to the BCA. You can go to the Attorney General. Well, none of them answer. The Attorney General doesn't answer. Amy Klobuchar does not answer. Where are our politicians? What are we supposed to do in this situation when law enforcement officers of Rosemont refuse to investigate this? I have tried calling Carson Thomas, left a voicemail this last week. Still have not gotten a response back. Maybe he's busy with a lot of people calling in about Michael Dahlstrom. But there's proof. Again, everybody can go read the court documents. They can read Andrew's statements back. He points out the laws that are broken in his motions. He had to file his own motions, and there's no money for an attorney. There is zero money. They have completely destroyed his life. They kept blocking the sale of his house so he couldn't sell his house. They could have both, Kirsten and Andrew could have both had $20,000 from the sale of his house, but his attorney kept blocking it, and she kept blocking it. No, he can't sell the house. But yet he has a judgment that he has to pay her $89,000 for a house that she kept blocking the sale on. This is a conspiracy. They have conspired against Andrew. This is what our judicial system is being used for, and I am concerned. I am concerned that a human being could be treated this way. This is a human rights issue, what Andrew has been through, and it's not okay. Again, I hope that this is being investigated. Maybe they're not telling us, but this is what's happening in a human being's life in Rosemont. And again, for the people who have never met Andrew and have made mean comments about him or have said rude things about him, you guys are awful. You have never been in this person's presence. You have no idea how he is around kids, how he's around other people, what kind of energy he brings, but yet you have horrible things to say about him. Maybe he was mean in high school. I don't know. But people grow up and they grow out of their old ways. But also look who his father is. So we mirror the behaviors we've seen in our lives. And I do believe Andrew on who his dad was, because I have seen some of that behavior from Andrew, and I'm like, the things that he's saying about his dad, I'm like, well, that's a little bit true about you a little bit, you know? So I do see the truth behind all of this. And again, the fact that I've been harassed and stalked with court, the fact that they've tried to file criminal charges on me for sharing an important piece of this investigation, that Officer Paul Larson, who was also stalking my pages, called off the Hennepin County medical examiner, so no autopsy was done on Kathleen Conboy's body at all. No autopsy. It says yes in the report, but there is no autopsy. There is no medical examiner. Andrew has tried to get these reports, and when he went to the Hennepin County medical examiner, she told him that Paul Larson called off the Hennepin County medical examiner. In court with Judge Lutz, Andrew, Judge Lutz, I'm sorry, in the civil court hearing that Andrew took his father to, Judicial Officer Lutz asked Tim Conboy, did any of the officers ask you about the manner of your wife's death? And no officers questioned Tim about his wife's death, because they probably knew what he did. They're probably a part of it. Officer Larson and Michael Dahlstrom. I have questions. A thorough investigation needs to be done on this, and it's not being done. So yes, I believe this. I believe Andrew. I believe all of it after what I have been a witness to. I mean, I was living my life in fear for the past 2 years, worried about me going to jail. Like, every time I saw a police officer, I'm like, are they coming? Like, if I saw one driving by outside my house, I'm like, are they stopping at my house? Andrew has had PTSD from all of this. He's been arrested at gunpoint. He was arrested in front of his 4 daughters. This is very traumatizing stuff that has happened to Andrew, and the way he's been treated is inhumane. It's, again, a human rights issue. Again, you guys can all go to any of your local courthouses in Minnesota. You can go and you can read all the court documents under Andrew Conboy, Kirsten Conboy, Timothy Conboy, all these statements, right? That order of protection you can read. You can read the divorce papers, I'm pretty sure, where Kirsten then claims that Andrew's an absent father, even though she had him arrested at gunpoint for trying to contact his children. She tries to claim he's an absent father. She's committing perjury in these court documents, and she's making fun of him. She's talking about, he's talking about Pine, the benefits of Pine and interstellar space travel. That's what they're going against him in the court, saying he can't be around his kids and why she should get full custody. She is the abusive parent by not allowing those girls to speak to their father. This is child abuse. This is child abuse. She abused Andrew, and his mother was documenting this, and now she is dead. We have every right to believe that her death was unnatural and that it was caused by these 2 individuals, and possibly Amy Harvey too. She's definitely involved in the harassment, and she's been Tim Conboy's middleman between Andrew and her. I got calls from Andrew all year long when he was at college saying, Stephanie, my family's going to sue you. Delete your post, like freaking out. So That's been my life. And I, again, was ordered in court. I am not allowed to talk about this individual anywhere on the internet, and I have to delete all my posts. Well, luckily, I saved all my videos. I saved all the videos they told me I had to delete. I saved them all, so I have proof that I never encouraged any harassment at all to Tim Conboy. They have been harassing me. I have never harassed these people. I've never contacted these people. I shared on the internet what they were doing to Andrew. And I said on the internet, why Dakota County, somebody from Dakota County needs to look into this. The fact that we cannot report this crime to anybody and it's not being investigated, what do we do? What are me and Andrew supposed to do? I would love for you guys to tell me what you think me and Andrew should do. Because I guarantee the things that you tell me, like people have been reaching out to me, I've tried that. I will try to go to the media again. I will try to call the sheriffs this week. I'm getting more ballsy, but it is scary. It's very scary, like, getting involved in something like this, because this is a very serious, like, accusation to say that about somebody. And at first, I didn't necessarily believe the murder part, but I totally saw what Kirsten was doing, and I was like, what Kirsten's doing, this is the worst case of petty I've seen. And then you see that his father's on the court documents with her and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is a conspiracy. Why would your dad do that to you? Well, why would he do that to you? Oh, it's because you believe he poisoned your mom and you've been outspoken about that? Okay, that makes sense. They use his civil commitment to tell people in Rosemount that Andrew has mental health problems when he really doesn't. He's been living with me for over a year. We have a baby together. He's the best father I've ever seen. He's the best partner. He just did the dishes, you guys. He just did the dishes. He does the dishes. He helps take care of Boyan. He changes diapers. He does it all. He does it all. And he brings great energy to me and my daughter. So no, there is no mental health problems. I am a witness to that. And the fact that they've been able to use the court to get away with this is very concerning. Again, I have no trust. I have no trust in our judicial system or law enforcement officers anymore after this. Seeing how easy it is to get for corruption to take place, it's very concerning to me. To seeing all these other people, right? One of my friends just told me that he was in jail for something and he has diabetes and he kept saying he needed medical attention and they're like, oh, you have to get over it. Oh, whatever. And then somebody comes in and says, no, this man needs medical help now, and he was rushed to the hospital. That was in Scott County Jail. When people are telling officers they're not guilty of something, and officers are like, oh, they all say that. No, these people who are being arrested for things really are not guilty of the things that they're being accused for. And I'm seeing proof of that in front of my face. So now I don't believe any court documents I read. I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything I see or read on the internet anymore because I can see how people can lie. They can make things up. Now this whole AI thing is very terrifying because people can use AI voice stuff. They can use videos. I mean, these are the times that we are going into. So you can't believe anything you see unless you personally witness it. And I have personally been a witness to the harassment, to the lies, to Rosemount police refusing to investigate this. If they actually were investigating it, they would have sat down with Andrew and said, why do you believe this? They would have asked lots of questions. And they have not. So, Dakota County, get your act together because this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Sincerely, a concerned citizen. Love you.